1. Welcome to Washington East to West Sports. This is episode 25. I am Matt Beatty, joined alongside, as usual, by Sean Beatty and Kevin Ardall. If you want to get involved in the show, please tweet at us. I am at Beatty_Matt. Sean is at Sean_Beatty. Kev is at Kev Believes with the first name Believes being a 3. Comment on our YouTube page. Follow us on the Eli Network. Just let us know what you think of the show. But, gentlemen, let's get right into it. Pitchers and catchers report in 2 days for the Seattle Mariners down in Arizona. And it looks like it's not as warm as it usually is. I think it's probably all right, but I saw snow in Texas, so I was a little worried. But it looks like it should be all right down there for spring training getting started up here. And gentlemen, let's talk first, though, about the Seattle Sports Commission and their Seattle Sports Athlete of the Year, though. So the Seattle Sports Commission, the voting is already closed. But in case you hadn't heard, the Seattle Sports Commission always puts out every year the Sports Story of the Year, the Sports Star of the Year for men's and women's sports. So I just want to go through it real quick. Voting is already ended, but they will announce the winners on February 27th, which is next week. So I wanted to get to this before we go into the Mariners. So, gentlemen, let me know what your vote is for the Sports Story of the Year. So for Sports Story of the Year, the nominees are the Sounders FC comeback, that big comeback against the Minnesota United in the conference championship game. Sean and I were watching that a little bit while it was happening over December, right before the MLS Cup final, which didn't go the Sounders' way, but still a great game. They have Kraken breaks records. I don't know if it breaks a record other than selling the most merchandise for
tickets.
That's pretty cool. But they sold a lot of merchandise, so I guess that's pretty cool. The Seattle Storm won their 4th WNBA championship. The Seahawks winning the NFC West, or the Gonzaga men's basketball team winning 30 games in a shortened 2020 season. So out of those 5 stories, gentlemen, which is the Sports Story of the Year for you? I'm going to start, actually. Anytime you win a title, I think it pretty much defeats everything else. So I'm going to take the Seattle Storm winning their 4th WNBA title. Sorry, I keep saying WNBA title. I mean, Sue Bird, Breanna Stewart, Jewel Lloyd, like, they dominate once again, like, in the bubble. Like, it wasn't even close, frankly. Like, that team is just loaded. And, Sue Bird, she's probably the GOAT of the WNBA. You can make an argument between her and Diana Taurasi and a few others, but Lisa Leslie, but it's hard to win titles, and the Storm winning their 4th in impressive fashion was just lovely to see, especially when you bring a title back to the Northwest. Sean, what about you?
I would say my number 2 is the Gonzaga men's, because winning 30 games, only playing 33 is pretty impressive. I mean, they went 31-2. I don't know if the Kraken is really a record. They didn't actually do anything as a team. So I don't know if I really count that one. It's cool, but I don't know if I count it. Sounders and Seahawks were nice, but yeah, it's the Storm. They won the championship, and like you said, it wasn't even close. Like, they embarrassed everybody else. So it's got to be the Storm for me.
Kevin, what do you think?
I hate to sound like a broken record. Well, I mean, continuation here, but yeah, pretty much the Storm. Championships are what it's about. That's why they play the game. They were dominant. Then, yeah, I would kind of agree with Sean. You go with Gonzaga second. NFC West, as we've kind of already mentioned, doesn't really matter when the next game result against the Rams. It just kind of, in my opinion, that just squashes it. Like, 12-4 doesn't mean crap when you don't do anything in the playoffs. So, and the Sounders, yeah, I mean, it was sad, and I probably put the Sounders a little bit above the Seahawks just because.
Well, they were to the finals for the 4th time in 5 years. I mean,
and that comeback in the Western Conference Finals was crazy impressive, down 2-0 and come back to win.
I probably put Seahawks just slightly above the unexisting Kraken. Like, that's why I put it. So,
all right. So let's get to the women's Sports Star of the Year. So there is Charlize Ledger-Walker of WSU basketball, Morgan Flores of UW softball, Alicia Clark of the Seattle Storm, Mackenzie Williams of Seattle U basketball, and Jen Worth of Gonzaga basketball. This one seems like another clear no-brainer. Alicia Clark for the Seattle Storm, first team all defense. I mean, once again, leading into another title. I don't think it's super close. Although I will say, as a Coug, Charlize Ledger-Walker, and what that team is doing right now, they won against a top 5 opponent. They beat UCLA last week for their first win against a top 5 team ever. So, Cougar women's basketball is looking pretty good. And, no offense to the men, but they look a little bit better than the men do right now. Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, I have to agree. I'm not going to try to say I'm like an expert in all of that, but props for those women kicking some butt and representing and showing up. So, but yeah, I mean, winning a championship, I kind of have to give it to her. So,
Sean?
Yeah, I kind of go the same way. I got to go with the championship, Clark. I don't know who decided this list on who out of the Storm, because I would have probably picked whoever was.
I would have picked Sue Bird, but yeah.
Well, Clark's very good too. But
absolutely,
basically my vote was whoever came from the Storm was going to win this for me.
Mm-hmm.
So she was from the Storm, so she's going to win.
All right, and now we get into the men's sports star of the year. There was KJ Wright of the Seahawks, Kyle Lewis of the Seattle Mariners, Jordan Morris of the Seattle Sounders, Kyle Manzardo of WSU baseball, and Elijah Molden of UW football. So I would say automatically, sorry, college guys, you're going to be pushed aside here. When I actually voted for this, I voted for KJ because I just wanted him to stay. I wanted to get this award, so he'll stay. But I would go with Jordan Morris as the actual pick here because he leads that team. And, they've been to back-to-back MLS Cup finals. So I would go with Jordan Morris, actually, in my actual vote. Sorry, KJ, to say that, but I voted for you because I want you to stay. But I would take Jordan Morris of these choices. Sean, what do you think? I know you won't take Kyle Lewis because you don't like him, but...
No, it's not Kyle Lewis. I'm sorry. And it's not... sorry. Oh, Kyle from... the WSU as well. It's not you either. Elijah had a better case. He was much better, but I'm not picking that. It's between Morris and KJ. I kind of agree. I actually go KJ. Jordan Morris played well, but I think everything that KJ needed to do when they needed him, he stepped up. Jordan Morris kind of just disappeared in the finals. I'm just going to be honest. So I think KJ did everything he possibly could, and he played very, very well all year. After a year where kind of people dogged him because he did not play very well the year before, and he came back with a vengeance, and I think he played very well. So I would have gone to KJ Wright.
Kevin?
Yeah, I'm going to say KJ won just because the dude had we've already seen it. We saw the tape, everything, just do his beast everywhere. The screen whisperer, as I like to call him. He was a wrecking force. I'd probably say Morrison, and it was tied with Lewis, just because Kyle Lewis actually kind of went apeshit there for a little bit. I apologize for the language, but
for 20 games, but yeah,
still for a rookie being injured for that good period, nobody was expecting him to do what he did. He did come back down to earth. Don't get me wrong, but still winning rookie of the year and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big deal, even though, it was a shortened season, but props to him, and I hope he continues it. So I would say I'd give them to a tie, and then college kids can fight it out for.
All right. Well, let us know what you think. The results will be out on February 27th, so it was a fan vote, so we'll see who was selected during that time. But, gentlemen, like I said, it is 2 days till pitchers and catchers report. Let's talk about some Seattle Mariners baseball. So, gentlemen, Kevin, you texted us the Seattle Mariners 2021 schedule, and I've had a time to look at it. I'm sure both of you have as well. So I want to start off looking at this schedule. Let's say that there are fans that are going to be allowed at these games. Now, I don't think that's likely to happen. I don't think it might happen, but I don't expect that to happen this season. Maybe in August or September, but I wouldn't bet on that at all. So looking at the Seattle Mariners schedule, I'm sure you're both bringing it up right now. I want you to give me 2 home series that you would want to buy a ticket for based on who they're playing. So I will go ahead and start. So, there's a lot of good choices here. I think I will start with early. Well, not, I guess we'll say early. Early in the season in April, they host the Dodgers for a 2-game series. Would really like to see the defending champs see how they look this year. I think that'd be a good.
You want to see the Mariners just get slaughtered by the
Yeah.
Dodgers?
Yeah, I would, because
Okay.
I'm not paying a ticket for the Mariners. I'm paying a ticket for the Dodgers. Okay,
For Mookie Betts?
Yes, that's what I'm paying for. I'm paying for Mookie
Okay.
Betts. Absolutely.
I've seen Mookie Betts.
And then I wanted to pick a AL team. I didn't really want to see Houston, division team. You see them a bunch. Yankees do come to town one time. I don't like the Yankees. I don't really want to see the Yankees. I would like to pay a ticket for Toronto, though. That is who I would like to see. I would like to see Vlad Guerrero Jr. I'd like to see George Springer in that uni. I would like to see the Toronto Blue Jays come to town and, maybe hit some really just far dingers into the 300 level, or maybe over that T-Mobile Park sign in left field. That would be very good game to see. 3-game series there in August, right after they host the Texas Rangers for a little bit. So those are the 2 teams I would want to see. Kevin, I'm going to throw it to you. Tell me who you would want to pay to see this season if you could.
If I was able to, I would just take 6 days off and just do that beginning weekend, or not the second weekend in where we play Houston and then the Dodgers. Even though we're gonna get murdered, we could probably go 0-5 there, to be honest. Looking at it, I actually am kind of intrigued for the second series at home against the White Sox, just because they also have a lot of young and up-and-comers. They're kind of a team on the mend. I'd like to see our talent versus their talent kind of deal. That 3-game series just after, because we open up against the Giants, and then we have a 3-game home stretch against them, against the White Sox. So other than that, looking here, the only other team that I want to kind of see it would be in June. We have a 3-game series, 4-game series against Tampa Bay. Coming off the World Series, I like to see just see how it goes. Just because Tampa Bay every year is just one of those teams where they just I don't know, they're just weird. Nobody, don't get me wrong, they're talented as crap on that team, but honestly, if you at this point, beginning of the season, if someone told you that Tampa Bay was going to be in the World Series, you would call bull crap.
This year?
No, last year, before the season started.
Not really. I think I had them when we did our podcast as a number 2 team.
Behind Houston and Yankees and okay,
they were number 1 seed for a reason, man. They were really talented.
Well, yeah, it's just there's not many. Let's say
names.
There's not many
big names.
Yeah,
you're not paying to see a name on that team for sure.
Yeah. They have a lot of the right good, way. Yeah, mixtures of stuff there.
Mike
other
Zunino.
than that, Toronto, and then pretty much the rest of it's just kind of man. It's just division and trash. So,
Sean, what would you like to see?
So I go either way. Do you want to see the Mariners win? Do you want to see them a good team? So I pick the Boston Red Sox because I hate the Boston Red Sox, and I want to see the Mariners win. And the Boston Red Sox suck. So it's a good year to do that. I saw them the last time we were allowed to go. Me and the wife went to Mariners, and I hate how Boston takes over the stadium every time. But that's where everywhere they go. I got to see Mookie Betts his last year in Boston. Suck at Boston. You trade away him, and he's really good. Won a World Series. You deserve that. The other option is, do I want to see the Yankees because they take over a series? No. If Matthew, I would agree with you if Toronto series was in September, because I want Toronto fans to see what real prospects look like. Because I'm sorry, but Vladimir Guerrero Jr. just isn't a good baseball player right now. He just isn't good. He could be good, but he's not there yet. So I want them to see what Jared Kelenic and Julio Rodriguez and these guys look like when they come up.
We play him in August.
I know, but it's not. They won't have.
Yeah,
Jared Kelenic will be up. Hancock will probably be up, but maybe the Julio Rodriguez won't quite be up. Maybe he's a September guy. Who knows how some of these things will shake out? That would be for sure. But I will go with Kevin. I'll go Boston in September, and I'll go Tampa Bay in June, because Tampa Bay, they're kind of they were going to regress because they got rid of some talent, but they're going to build again with Wander Franco. number one prospect in all baseball, some wonder kid, and who's going to like tear it up. He's going to be better than A-Rod is what everybody's saying. He looks very good, and it puts up monster numbers, and I want to see him. I want to see him. That's the only reason I want to see Tampa Bay. And Mike Zini. But yeah.
I mean, those are all pretty good choices. So I wanted to throw one more thing out there. Let's say you can actually travel this year. You can go to a away game. Let's pick a place we want to go see the Mariners play at. Now, I think I'm going to pick mine based on where I want to see a game.
I got to check.
I'm going to pick in April, the Mariners go to Boston to take on the Red Sox. I would like to go to Fenway Park. I've always wanted to go to Fenway Park just to see the history of that ballpark. And Sean said the Red Sox are terrible. So, I might actually see a win. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah. Get myself a Fenway dog or something. So I would like to go to Boston to see the Mariners play in Fenway Park. Always wanted to go to that ballpark, see the big green monster, and just enjoy a Mariners win on the road. That would be most excellent. Sean, what about you?
Boston would be nice. New York would be nice, but I hear, especially Boston's a trash stadium. It's just terrible. It's huge. It's like history, whatever. But I picked July. I want to go to Colorado. I want to see their stadium. I hear it's really nice, very big. It's a nice part of town too.
July? So, you mean June?
No, they play Colorado in July.
Colorado,
yeah. I had to double check, make sure they played there before I said that. But
I want to go to Colorado. 2-game series there.
Yeah, I want to go to Colorado.
Kevin, what about you?
If I'm okay, I have two. Okay. One based on the team and like what I want to see, and the other based on the stadium. Based on the team, it'd probably be the 2-game series in May against San Diego.
Yeah.
It's a
nice stadium.
Nice
team. So like, especially with how much they bought this offseason, I kind of want to see what that team's all about. Can they, put up a fight against the Dodgers? My answer is probably no. But still, I mean, they probably think they can, but Dodgers are just stacked to everything. And then for the stadium, I actually kind of want to go in September, early September to Arizona, because I hear they have a water slide, don't they? And they have like pool and stuff.
They do.
So
it's weird.
That would be
brought
cool.
That up, Kevin. I didn't see San Diego. We don't play. They don't come here, but we go there. That's weird.
Yeah, we go for 2 games in May. So
we go three, because there's a little tiny one, 23rd.
Oh yeah, because of the split. Yep. Sorry.
That's a good call, Kevin. San Diego. I didn't see them.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. That would be great weather.
Mine was based solely on stadium. But
mine was mostly based on stadium. Yeah.
And it's also May too, so it's not gonna be like super hot, like, because we all remember like when the Seahawks played them at Qualcomm, when it was like 100 degrees out and they're all dying.
Where that stadium is, I hear it doesn't get as warm though, like, because it's pretty close to the water. So I don't think it's that big of a deal.
All right, so let us know which game you'd want to see at home, which game you'd want to see on the road. Go ahead and tweet us. I'm at Bailey_Matt. Sean is at Sean_Bailey. Kev's at Kev believes the first team believes being a 3. Just let us know which game you would want to see. If you could see games at all this year, I would say it's very unlikely, but we can dream, right? So we've got a little bit of time, and who knows, maybe we'll get to see a game this year, but hopefully in 2022 we'll be able to get out to a ballpark and catch a game. But gentlemen, let's move on to some other Seattle Mariners news. The Big Maple is back. James Paxton signed a 1-year deal for $8.5 million. According to Jeff Passan, has some reachable bonuses that could take it up to $10 million. I do want to say, my friend and I, Jordan, who is the sports editor at the Daily News, we were talking about this last week, and we were just like, let's go get James Paxton. Like, why not? He's available. Like, he was a good arm when he was with us. And, I'd like to think they listened to us, but I don't think they were listening to this. They were just making a good move. And James Paxton is back in a Seattle Mariners uniform. So I want to throw this to you guys. Where does he fit in the rotation? And what do you think of this signing? So, Sean, I'm going to throw it to you first. What do you think about that?
It's a good signing. He has incentives based on games started, so they're both pretty reachable. He turned down basically the same money for the Mets, which are more likely to compete. So that means he likes Seattle. The issue with James Paxton's always been health. I think he slides in at number 2 behind Marco, and he's got the most miles on him. The only thing I'd be worried about with him is now we go Marco 1, Paxton 2, and then it depends on who we go 3. If we go Justice, which I doubt it, we could go 3 lefties right off the bat, which would be weird and not probably ideal, but he's the number 2. He's good when he plays, and that's pretty much it. The rumor was he lost a little bit of velocity last year. He got beat up a little bit because of that, but I guess in the he did a little showing in December, and he threw 95, 94, so he's back up to some velocity. So any questions people had there was quickly put away. So I like it. It's a name, and if he is good, you could do what you did with Walker last year and trade him at the deadline. People will want to trade for a big lefty who throws hard.
Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we're not really paying him a whole lot of bank. As I agree with Sean, he's probably going to be your number 2 guy, unless like just go crazy. Then maybe you slide him into 3. But like, yeah, having 3 lefties for top 3 is kind of weird. He's pretty much just there for trade bait later on, to be honest, because like I really don't see him having like a future with us, just because there's just so much in the if he has a good season, trade him away. If he has a moderate season, try to get something for him, type of deal. But I doubt he'll be here at the end of September. So I think moving back will help him, because Yankee Stadium is not a pitcher-friendly park, and we are way more of a pitcher-friendly park. So though we'll have I honestly think too that Zunino's defense helped him out a lot with his stuff. So that's just personal opinion of mine, but we'll see.
All right. So yeah, I think James Paxton's going to fit in very nicely. Yeah, I think 2 or 3. I'm not sure, who they might have coming in or how they all stack up, but I think Marco will probably take the number 1, and then Paxton will probably slot in at 2 or 3. I mean, if they run the 6-man rotation, I think that helps quite a bit with Paxton being in there at the 2 or the 3, because they
have already announced that they're running 6-man.
Okay, they are running 6-man. So I mean that's nice to have that arm in there, and another lefty pitcher is always nice to have. So
you say Kikuchi, another lefty. They have 4 projected right now in roster resources to start with: Marco, Paxton, Kikuchi, Sheffield, Flexen, and Dunn. So 4 lefties to start that.
Hey, I don't mind some left-handed pitching, because
if you're good, I don't care. Just get somebody out. Yeah. Like, I really don't care what you throw with. Like,
baseball's dominated by righties, so I like seeing the lefties get out there. I like.
Honestly, it might throw teams off too. Like,
yeah,
it could be like we're going against another freaking lefty. Like, it might throw teams off. Who knows?
Just get guys out. I don't care what you throw. Like, and if they get them out, then there it is.
All right, so Sean, you brought up you subtweeted something that I want to do. I know it's very early, but you predicted the MLB team season from a Twitter account that says Deshaun Watson to San Francisco. So how dare you, first of all? But
I just saw it. It was suggested, okay, and I was like, oh, that's fun.
Okay, that's fair. So you predicted the Mariners season. Do you want to go through it, or do you want me to go through it? I have it up right now.
No, you go for it.
Okay. So Sean said 75 wins. The Cy Young is going to be Marco. The MVP is going to be Haniger. The breakout player is going to be Moore. The reliever of the year, you said no one, comma Montero.
I mean, I had to pick somebody. They all suck, but I had to pick somebody.
And then you said comeback player Haniger, and you said playoffs, no. That is a direct quote. So, do you want to take back any of those right now? Are you pretty confident in that selection right now? What's your level of confidence in that before we even have pitchers and catch reporting?
Well, my more one, I gave a little, cross my fingers one. If he does well, that means I'm not sure if I was really sure he's the breakout. I just really hope he's the breakout, because if he is, that does a lot of things for us. Like, he can play second base. Like, that's basically the last position we need to fill.
Yeah.
So I was really more hoping with my heart than anything else there. True breakout, man, I don't know, because the problem is you can't pick any of the kids coming up, because I can't say Jared Kellog's going to break out because everyone freaking thinks he's amazing. So and you can't pick Kyle Lewis because he did. You can't pick Mitch Haniger because he's awesome, or Seager. So you're kind of left at some. I guess if I had to really pick a breakout, I would either say Kikuchi or Sheffield. I think would be the more likely to actually break out. I was kind of just hoping Moore is the breakout.
Okay. Okay. So, Kevin, do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
I don't care.
Okay.
Don't mind me.
I'm going to take it. I'm going to take it. So,
Okay.
record, I am going to go a little lower. I'm going to go 70 wins with this one. Cy Young, at this moment in time, I think, you guys say he's going to get traded, but if Big Maple stays the whole season, I think that's going to be Big Maple.
He has never stayed a whole season, so
Hey,
or like finished.
hey.
He's never completed a qualifying season, so that he would have to be healthy for the first time in his career.
All right. That's what I'm banking on.
Okay.
That's what I'm banking on.
You need to be aware of that. He
That's
has never
fair.
actually qualified for a Cy Young vote
That's-
because he's never pitched enough innings.
That's fair. That is fair.
Okay.
So MVP. I do like your pick of Haniger, Sean, but I am gonna go with Kyle Lewis on this one. I think he showed some promise last year. I think he's even better this year. So I'm gonna go with Kyle Lewis at that one.
Forgot how good Mitch Haniger was. Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Breakout.
That's fine.
Hold on. Breakout player. I'm going to go with J.P. Crawford on this one. I think he is primed for a big season this year. He's been with the Mariners for a little while now. I think this is the year where he really shines and shows the Mariners what he's got. Reliever, that is a tough one. I'm looking at the roster, and I don't really recognize most of these players. So I'm really not sure who to pick here. So I'm just going to go with Sean here. I'm just going to go with Montero because I'm really not sure, most of these guys, what they've got. So we'll just go with that for now. Comeback player, I think, is definitely going to be Haniger. I think Haniger's going to, come back with a vengeance here this year after that very, very tough and cringy injury last year. And playoffs, no. I would love it, but I think the drought continues for one more year, and hopefully only one more year. Kevin?
Don't sleep on Mitch Haniger. That dude's a beast.
Schedule or record, because our schedules, actually looking at our schedules, kind of, it's weird because I see a lot of scariness, but then I see like Detroit, and then I see like Texas, and I'm like, oh, we can do that. So I'm gonna say probably more or less 70-ish. Like,
we need a number. We need a number.
69. We're going
Nice.
with that.
Did you just prices right yourself? Like, you can't now win. You picked one below Matthew.
Yes.
You'll never get it unless. Okay. All right. Well.
Yes.
Wait, are we saying we can't go over?
You can't go over. That's the Price is Right.
I think that's
so.
no.
Kevin
I
can
think
only get 69.
I'm gonna go crazy here.
Anything under 69 is Kevin's. I'm not playing
I'm
Price
gonna
is
go
Right
a little
rule here.
crazy.
Yeah.
You all ready for this? Cy Young is going to Justice.
Oh,
That
okay.
man pitched very well last year.
Okay, can I say something before you go on, Kevin? So I have declared my love at how well Justice played last year, and you've taken it to a whole nother level. You just declared me.
I also, because in reality, it's probably gonna be Marco, and Marco deserves it because like the dude pitched his butt off last season. Like he literally only had like 4 walks like the whole season or something. I think it was 6 walks, which was it was some crazy thing. Like the dude just was he was very good. He wasn't like Kershaw prime years good, but for Marco,
he had 7 last year.
Yeah. MVP. Yeah, it's got to be probably Kyle Lewis again, probably.
So, I got a question for you too.
Yeah.
I got a question for you too.
All right.
You think Kyle Lewis is is it the best baseball player? Because undoubtedly Mitch Haniger is a better baseball player.
No, I'm saying MVP, not best player.
The most valuable player is the best player.
Now,
that's how that works.
I'm saying MVP based off of what media goes by, taking out fielding, WAR, all that stuff, and just going based off what he does at the plate type deal. Now, if
Mitch
you want me to
Haniger
go
has
more,
never been a worse hitter than Kyle Lewis was in his best year.
If you want me to be specific and go into an actual
No, you can pick Kyle Lewis. I'm just saying. Don't sleep on my boy Mitch Haniger.
I'm not. I love my boy. I love Mr. Haniger. And I hope he comes back healthy and stays healthy. What was the next one after that? MVP?
Breakout player.
Breakout. Ooh. I'm gonna say I'm gonna say, what's his name?
You can't say James Paxton.
No, not Paxton.
Yeah, you can't take mine. So I'm gonna win.
What did he play? Just say words.
Catcher, big boy.
Oh gosh.
Guns.
Oh my gosh, what's his name? This is really embarrassing for a baseball podcast. Tom Murphy. Gosh.
Tom
Jesus.
Murphy. Tom Murphy's gonna hit 30 bombs. So that's breakout player. Just because he's so jacked, like I have a feeling. And honestly, I think we might see some good defensive catching out of him too. Like he wasn't half bad from the stats I was seeing. So
yeah, it was pretty good.
So that would be breakout. I would say I'm gonna go with the most improved category 2, and that is what I would give to JP Crawford. I think JP Crawford's gonna be actually no.
No, I'm giving it if it's most improved, I'm giving it to Evan White.
It will 100% be Evan White. Might be Evan White too.
That dude is not hitting 120 this year. There's no way. There's no way.
I think he's going to get a lot more consistent at the bat, be a little bit more patient, swing at better pitches. I don't know if he's going to go crazy, but I at least like to see him up to 250 or more from his, what else was there?
He never hit below 270. So
reliever of the year.
Rookie of the year.
Reliever.
Oh, reliever of the year. I don't give a crap. Me.
That's what I said.
I'm reliever of the year. I'm coming in.
Just say Montero and move on.
Me.
All right.
I'm going in.
Comeback player.
Comeback player of the year. It's got to be Handiger. If not, if he gets like injured or something again, which heaven forbid, I'll say Seager. I think Seager is actually probably going to have a little bit more.
Can you call him a comeback? I mean, he had such a good year last year. Like, what is he coming back from?
Yeah, toward the end, because he only hit like 250 on the season actually last year.
Yeah, but I mean, his WRC plus is like 120. Like,
that was true. Yeah,
he had a higher WAR than Kyle Lewis.
The thing with Kyle Seager is that he's always like he has a cold phase and then he has like a turn it the F on phase. Like,
he stole 5 bases last year. What the heck?
Yeah. So I'm actually excited to see what Kyle Seager does again.
He actually had a really good year last year, a 13% walk rate. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know if you could count that as a comeback. He had a really good year last year.
Kevin, playoffs.
We're talking about playoffs here?
There we go. That's what I want.
Sorry. Unless, like, teams...
Well, you said they won 69 games, so the answer is no. Like, how do they get to the playoffs winning 69 games?
That would be amazing if they did.
The only way I could see it is if it, like, it was okay, say they're biting for a wild card and like the lower wild card team just has like COVID or something and they have to rotate a team in.
So if a team above them has COVID, then they'll make the playoffs. Okay.
Yes. An entire team gets COVID. There you go.
Yes.
Okay. So now we know if a team gets COVID, Mariners are in.
Yeah.
All right. Let us know your early predictions before the pitchers and catchers report. Tweet at us. Let us know what you think. We are going to take a quick... Oh, my God. This carpet's catching on me. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with some Seattle Seahawks news right after this. And welcome back, everyone. So let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks, and let's start with the latest on the Russell Wilson drama. So I have seen quite a bit of, like, just... chatters, reports, sources, a bunch of different stuff. And, I just gonna talk with you guys, sort it all out here. So first thing I want to discuss is I did see that the Seahawks, I think Sean tweeted about this, or liked a tweet or something like this, where they were talking to the Eagles about a possible deal with Zach Ertz and I think Carson Wentz was in that package. Is that correct?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
So I've heard stuff
and Dillard,
like that.
the WSU lineman.
And Dillard. So I heard that as well. I've heard a lot of different things about Russ being unhappy, all this sort of stuff. So guys, I just want to kind of put a little bow on it for right now. So I've heard a lot of different things, but I think ultimately, we've all talked on Twitter about this, even after the show. I think ultimately what this comes down to is the front office. And the Seahawks, we all know that the offensive line hasn't necessarily been great. I do think it is a little bit weird of the timing of him coming out and saying this. I mean, I think it's odd after, so many years that this would finally be something that he's frustrated about. I understand his frustration. Like, the offensive line in front of him was not good. Like, we can all agree on that. I think for the first 5 games, it was pretty good, but then outside of that, it wasn't great. And, it's kind of tough because, part of me thinks, Russ, while he deserves to get paid as much as he is paid, it does take away money from what they could spend on the offensive line. So that's part of it. The other part is the fact that he does right now have a no trade clause. So I think this is really just noise more than anything. And, teams are going to call about a lot of different players. So I don't think that's necessarily like super shocking news necessarily. I think it's just something that's coming out more publicly now. And with Russell's public comments, saying, well, I don't know if I'm available. I think he does know he's not available because in his contract, he has a no trade clause. That being said, it's in his contract. He'd have to waive it in order for them to trade him.
If he's unhappy, he will clearly waive it. Like, the no trade clause means nothing.
Well, yeah, but he would have to actually waive it. We've heard no news about him publicly or privately asking for a trade. That is where I'd be worried. If he was privately or publicly asking for a trade. He has not specifically said that. So until we hear that, I think there's no cause for concern here. But at the same time, like Russ, if you do want to leave, I would like you to just say it, honestly. Like, I would like to stop all these rumors, all this gossip, all of the sources here, sources there. Like, if you want to be traded, just please come out and say it, because I'd rather have that, and then we can address it. And if we can find a suitable deal that works out for the Seahawks and another team, that's fine. But I would just like to know where he exactly stands and if he actually wants to leave, because I don't truly believe he wants to leave. I just think he's doing this to kind of publicly put some pressure on the front office to invest more in the offensive line this offseason rather than them investing in any other position that they might have a need for. And I think it's, obviously something they need to address, but there are other needs as well. So it's a tough position if you're a front office hearing all these things publicly. So, a lot of people have said, would I choose Pete Carroll, John Schneider, or Russell Wilson? I don't think that's the case at this moment. But I think we can all probably say we choose Russ. But at the same time, this is ultimately a business, and players are going to come and go. So if Russ wants to leave, thanks for a Super Bowl and playing well with us. And if you want to leave, that's up to you. And, I don't want you to leave, but if that's what you want, I would really just like you to come out and say it publicly then. Sean, what are your thoughts on this?
I was gonna let Kevin go first.
Okay, Kevin, you want to go first?
Yeah, Kevin, you can go first.
All right. Okay, to start out with me, the timing is not a question. Like, it actually makes sense to me because, for one, Russell's going into year 10, so roughly halfway through his career. I know he wants to play into his 40s, and that's the thing too. He wants to play into his 40s. That's not going to happen with the way the things are going at the moment, because he's seen what happened to Andrew Luck. He literally just saw what happened in the Super Bowl. And a lot of people in the media too, they're all like, oh, he's doing this now because of it's a Tom Brady thing. Like, Tom Brady had control. He called the offense. He went and got his players. I'm like, no, it's a Patrick Mahomes thing. He doesn't give a crap what Tom Brady was doing on the other side of the field and bringing in and stuff like that. He's looking at what Mahomes does, because I hate to say it. I know I'm going to shock a lot of 12th men out there, but Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. Sorry. I get over it. It's a thing. The next closest you could probably say to him is going to be Russell, and Russell knows this. So
maybe.
Yeah. I mean, the only other,
there's arguments to be made
his
for
athletic
other guys,
ability.
Yeah, there's arguments. There's arguments to be made, but yeah.
With okay, in the same situation, let's say with an O-line that's crap, because Aaron Rodgers ain't running. The only other person that really could do it with the same accuracy would probably be Deshaun. I don't trust Josh Allen quite yet, to be honest.
But that's not the situation a lot of quarterbacks would be in. Running isn't always necessarily like the thing you need to be
pretty
doing.
much what he saw at the Super Bowl was Patrick Mahomes minus his 2 tackles and his guard just running for his life and literally just doing everything possible and coming up short. I mean, yes, it was on the receivers too.
He had one guy playing a position he was supposed to be playing to start the season. His center was playing center. That was it. All 4 people are different positions or hurt.
So Russell seeing this, he's like, Mahomes can't do it, and you expect me to do it with an even worse O-line. Like, they have a better O-line than us. They just have people hurt, with the exception Dwayne Brown is very good. He's a top 7 player at his position. But the rest of just mediocre to crap, pretty much. So he's just like, it can't all be on me now, so to speak. The whole, like, I'm going to take, like, the defense. Pete Carroll is a defensive guy. And since 2016, the defense has got statistically worse, with the exception of this year. It went from 26 last year to 22. So it's literally Pete's not doing anything on the opposite side of the ball to help him out to where he doesn't have to win 30-plus game shootouts, or like with the Legion of Boom when they're averaging 17 points, giving away a game to where he could score 20 points and win. Also, you have the whole Marshawn running thing that helped out too. You're now geared toward offense. You have offensive weapons there. Russell knows the scheme, but the thing is, you can't do anything if Aaron Donald is in your mouth. Like, it's just kind of a hard thing to do. So, yes, he wants to stay in Seattle, but he just wants Seattle to wake the F up and realize that, one, you have to start drafting higher positions to get him weapons and people to block for him. It can't just be all on defense. Because if you look at the last 4 years, nothing really. I mean, you can't really count what's his face who's in Chicago right now, because he's also terrible. Damian Lewis is good at run blocking, but terrible at pass protecting, so can't count that. You need to spend 1st and 2nd round picks, and you need to get players that are more pass protecting than run. Multiple players have commented to NFL media saying that they're tired of Pete Carroll running a 1980s offense, and they literally said it was a 1980s offense, and I smiled happily because I always say 1984. They're just tired of it. Like, and Russell for the last 10 years has just said, "Go Hawks, go Hawks, go Hawks," and then they literally just asked him to bail him out. Without Russell, over these last 5-6 years, this is a sub 500 team. Without Russell this year, this is a sub 500 team, period. Like, and he's tired of it. Like, I don't blame him. Like, he's literally the most hit quarterback since he's gotten drafted. And he wants to play in his 40s, but that's not going to happen if he keeps getting pummeled. Like, you can take those hits young, but as you get older, like, we've gotten very, very lucky, as we've already mentioned on this podcast, that he has not gotten seriously hurt. So, he wants to stay. He's just tired of ever since Paul Allen died. It's literally just Pete Carroll's show. Pete Carroll runs everything. Because whoever owns the Seahawks just doesn't know what they're doing. They literally extended him to 2025 because they don't know what they're doing. They're like, well, we think Pete knows what he's doing, so we'll just extend him and just let him run the whole dang show. And yeah, so Russell's like, oh, that's the next 5 years of my, I'll be like 35, 36, and we're not going to win another NFC championship or a Super Bowl if this continues to happen, which he is correct. We're not going to. So, yeah, if you want to beat good teams in the playoffs that have good defenses like Tampa Bay, you need to have a solid O-line with weapons, and Russell needs that, period. So I'll pass it to Sean.
Okay. How do I want to start? So Matthew, you said you're not going to worry till he demands a trade, correct?
Yeah.
You're not going to worry till then. If he demands a trade, it's over. Like, the worrying part's done at that point. It's over. The relationship's fractured. The part where you worry is before the relationship completely falls apart. I'm not saying now is the time. He's clearly trying to posture himself to get a better deal, to get what he wants. You need to build around a quarterback, but it's not like it's a good thing what's happening right now, where he's going through the media, and then the article came out.
I didn't say it was a good thing.
the franchise
is good.
It's not a nothing either. That's I've also been saying either. Like people need to be aware. This is the process, the starting of what happened with Deshaun Watson. We just saw it happen. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. We're at step 2. We're now at about 3, maybe 4. Like, this in the butt now. No, you can say what you want to say.
Deshaun Watson is an entirely different situation. Entirely different.
He got pissed, vocalized, let's fix this team. They didn't.
Different.
Now we're
12
trading
and 4, 4 and 12, not the same.
No. Who cares about all that? Deshaun Watson has no one there. The issue is like he was like, okay, let's build. They traded everything. They didn't build around him, and he's like, okay, now I'm gone. Russell's like, okay, build around me. Let's do this. You are now on the clock, Seahawks. Like he has told you what this was. The rumor was last year, let me cook or I'll cook somewhere else. They let him cook. Didn't go well for various reasons. Or it went well fine, and then it collapsed. But then, like, he's like, okay, I want to be involved in this when you fire an offensive coordinator. Like, let me get this guy. Let's invest in these things. He's telling you what he wants, Seattle. You better listen to him. I'm not saying, like, this year or next year it's gone. But the no trade clause means nothing because if he demands the trade, he will take the trade. It doesn't mean anything. The no trade clause is for somebody who trades that doesn't know what's happening. You're not trading Russell Wilson when he doesn't ask for it. So that doesn't mean anything to me. The issue again is like, it's not that like they've been actually a little better the last couple years as an O-line from like O-line metrics, advanced metrics aren't great because it's hard to like tell exactly what is what, like what the scheme is on everything like that. We're not in the individual's head. However, we know that sacks and hits are also a large part of quarterback issues. So that's why whenever someone says, I know Kevin just said that, but a lot of people say like he's the most hit or most sacks. At least half of that is Russell Wilson. Like and that at least half of that isn't so much Russell Wilson. It's the game plan they call. They call these deep passes, and on deep passes you hold the ball longer, and with that becomes more hits. Now that's probably what Russell wants to do, but he also has to understand because he kind of pointed out he's like I get hit the most. Well, yeah, but like you like to throw deep balls and make the highlights, and with that comes the hits. Like it's a give and a take thing. Like Tom Brady doesn't get hit because he throws the ball 4 yards. Like. And gets the ball out in 2 seconds. Like you can be a dink and dunk guy and not get hit, or you can throw these deep bombs and look all pretty for, which I like to see. I want to see DK bombs, but like that's the kind of like the price you pay for it. I want, well, it is like, I mean, that's kind of what it is.
That was Max.
Oh, sorry. I was like, I heard somebody like saying,
no, Max is disagreeing with you.
Max disagreed. I will say this by advanced metrics that I don't necessarily agree with. Seahawks offensive line was ranked better than Kansas City's last year. They like, I just simply want, and I think Russell wants is maybe not necessarily spend like go out and get all these free agents and get all these like super first round picks. Kevin's right. They do need to spend higher picks on these guys. But just invest smarter. Do we need Shell? Do we need a potty? Do we need all these? He seems like every O-line is like one guy and then 4 Band-Aids. Like it was Okung and then 4 Band-Aids. Like you can invest a little bit more than that and invest better than that. Like you don't have to take these like Carpenter or Affetti's, or you don't have to play Affetti for 4 freaking years. You can't tell me there's no one on the team better than him. DeMarco Jones clearly was better than him. And then you kept playing Affetti. Like be smarter about the O-line. And be smarter about the game plan you're calling. I think is really kind of what he's asking for. He knows they don't have all this money. He knows they don't have all these resources that like Tampa Bay does because he wants his money. And Russell deserves his money. But just be a little bit smarter with what you're doing on offensive line. Stop paying Affetti for one. But like that's the microcosm. Stop playing a potty, like things like that. Like there has to be better options and you can invest better in your draft rather than giving up like multiple first rounders for a safety. The argument of Jamal Adams is for another day, but like, do we need to give up that when Russell wants protection? Like that's all that's all he's asking for. And that's not what I'm asking for. That's what Russell's asking for. Like we need to invest in this rather than invest in other areas you think we need. And he's right. NFL, you win if your quarterback is upright and doing well. And Russell wants to be upright and doing well.
Okay. So Russell mentioned he wants the O-line to be better. So let's talk about the O-line and the resources that they have in this offseason. Now, there's not much resources, but they have assets that they can trade to gain some more assets, maybe some draft picks. And then they do have a current slate of offensive linemen. Now, looking at our offensive line, I would say Dwayne Brown is obviously, a key focal point. I think he'll still be there, but he is getting older, so you're going to want to try and worry about replacing him at some point soon. I know Kevin said Damian Lewis didn't do well pass protection, but he is a good run blocker, and that's something. If you have a good old line coach, I think he can develop and be. So
it can be worked on.
So I think that he is a solid foundation piece, and he was part of that national championship with Joe Burrow, who barely got touched. So I think he has it in him to do that. I think that Ethan Pocic is a decent enough offensive lineman to keep at this moment, but outside of those three guys, like Sean mentioned, Iupati, like he's just old. And
Pocic. You have to sign Pocic. He's not on the roster.
But I'm saying, like, bring him back, keep that consistency there. Iupati, just so banged up. He has had a consistent career before coming to Seattle, but I don't necessarily think that he is a solution. I think Sean would be right in saying that he is a Band-Aid at this point. It's just hard to tell, what Seattle is willing to invest in a free agent out there. So I guess the solution right now is, you have, I think, 5 draft picks, like make
4. I believe it's
4. 4, make 2 of those offensive linemen, and then the other 2 you can invest in probably defensive line. But they don't have the cap or the draft stock to. I don't think they are going to appease him necessarily. I think they can make moves to at least pull together an offensive line that would make him happy for next season. I don't know how much they're going to be able to.
I don't think it's about next year. It's about like him. Just he understands the situation they're in. Just like he wants them to show an effort.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that look like to you?
Well, they're going to have to get some money. I think you could sign one of the guys that are out there. There's a number of like guards or tackles. We don't have to get into specifics of which one I'd rather have, but you can do a couple things. Like you can cut Quandre Diggs, save $6 million. You can cut Flowers and save $2 million. You can extend Tyler Lockett and defer some of that money. Now with cutting Diggs, that means you're going to have to extend Jamal Adams. I've already said you got to extend Jamal Adams. You gave up too much to let him walk. You have to extend him at this point. By extending contracts, that means you could defer when the cap hit, so you can push back the cap hit against these guys. So you could essentially free up in total like about $30 million of cap from all of these moves. If you wanted to extend Dunlap, you can. He's getting 14 against it. Like if you could push that back in any way, it'd be great. But you need to at least get one guy in free agency, I think. And if you extend Dunlap, you can, kind of fix your other D-line issue and maybe get one D-line guy as well. But I don't think, Matthew, investing 2 of your 4 picks, because it's a second and third rounder at best, those guys are not going to get it done. I agree with you that the 2 guys they got, Lewis and Brown, are good, but you've got to get, I would say, 2 guys in free agency. One guy's an elite guy, and another guy's like a good, like middle tier, like the Patriots just cut their guard that a lot of people are kind of sleeping on. Maybe a guy like that as like a 2 guy, like a second tier guy. Get 2 guys there, and then you've got to invest because the second rounder, I think, has to be either D-line or O-line. Fix the other position and then invest in one more because Dwayne Brown's on his last year of his deal. He's 36. He's going to be 37. Any moment that can be done. And you've got one guy other than that. And it's a rookie who's played like Kevin said, Kevin nailed it. He didn't play great in pass protection, played good in run. That is something you can work on. But right now, like if Brown goes down, that's what you got. Lewis is like your number 1 guy. I mean, I don't feel comfortable with that. You've got to invest 2 in free agency and 2 in the draft, and they're going to trade down. So you got to hit. You got to start paying attention to that. Russell's like kind of putting him on blast for that. I think that's his whole point. Just pay attention to me, please. Because they spend so much on like safeties. They traded for 2 safeties. They're doing all these other things like trading for Dunlap, trading for Clowney, doing all those things. He's like, what about this side of the ball? Like you're trading for Clowney and Dunlap and Adams and Diggs, and you gave me Shell and a Potty. Like, what are we doing?
Well, another thing too is like, it didn't pan out. Like you did all these trades to get all these big names on defense, and we're still crap. Like that it literally, I think it just turned something on Russell's mind, and kind of in a lot of other people's like ours too, that Pete doesn't fully know what
It'd be one thing, like, even if it worked, let's say it works, he would rather, I think he'd rather, and I think modern NFL is like telling you, like, take those gambles on the offensive line. Like, because if it doesn't work, like if you get an Adams type thing and it doesn't work, at least like you try to protect Russell. Russell knows you're like trying to make a move to like get him a guy, but he's watching all these other moves be made. And he's like, what are we doing? You're signing the guy that Jets cut, that it wasn't good enough for the Jets. Like, what are we doing? Like, I think that's his whole point.
But at the same time too, like I think Russell wants in on this, because as I'm going to go into a little list here just real briefly of what Pete's done over the years, of what he's accumulated. Percy Harvin didn't really work out, other than the Super Bowl finished them off.
He did one play.
Yeah.
It was an L.
Jimmy Graham, not that great.
Yeah, and that was an
L. Just saying, we gave up a first round pick for that. Jadeveon Clowney, how'd that worked out? Not real great. Jamal Adams.
He was good when he played for the Seahawks. He was good for the Seahawks, but then we didn't sign him again. So
yeah, but even then, like we were still 26th overall in defense. Like,
well, not because of him. He was a very good player.
Yes, he played well, but like at the same time too, like you want to put in like the whole like him not playing Blair, even though Blair was high ranked and stuff like that, and just him not being able to assess talent. Like Alton Robinson this year, like should have been playing more. Like, and he showed like he was good, and then Pete's just like, like I think he's starting to see that like Pete kind of doesn't fully, as we went, like everybody just gives head coaches all this credit, like they're gurus, they know what the hell they're doing and type of stuff. It's like, no, they're human beings. Like they're going to know some stuff, but like they're not Jesus. Like they're going to make mistakes. And Russell, like, is one of those guys that studies the game so hard, like top like IQ levels, because of how much he's put into the game. Like I would say Russell's near the top. Like let that man help you and like show you what he wants. Now at the same time too, people are like, oh, we wanted Greg Olsen, but at the same time too, like we didn't really utilize Greg Olsen. Like how much of that is Russell's fault? Like,
well, and like you just said, Kevin, no one's perfect. I mean, even if he wants the guy and the guy doesn't work out, like he tried, like it was a guy that he thought he needed. Like it's built around your quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. So just like instead of it just all being on Pete, like Pete needs to utilize the strengths that he has. Like Russell's a smart dude. You should have utilized Shoddy a little bit more. It sounds more like, from especially what Russell was saying, that it was Pete putting Shoddy in a box, like just being like, well, we got to play conservative 1984 offense. Don't do any of that stuff. Take that off the board. I want more of this stuff. Like it needs to be like, just be like, Pete, you're a defensive guy. You need to focus on that because your defense is completely not that great right now. Like, let us focus on the offensive side of the ball. You take care of that type of deal.
I also think, we are talking a lot about the offensive line. I don't know who calls the plays or who called the plays or how that's all working, but I think Russ might also like a little more freedom to call plays at the line of scrimmage because he is out there. He is seeing defenses and he is, watching film and studying defenses. And I'm sure he wants to maybe make a different play call, but he might be a little bit hamstrung by whoever is calling the plays. So I think he might also want a little freedom to kind of audible on the fly, maybe have a couple play calls come in. And then, once he takes a look at the defense, make a call from there. But I think you guys are both right. And I think, the offensive line is going to be the most important thing for him in next season. And we'll see how these next couple months unfold and how the draft unfolds. But, let's hope that they make Russell happy. But, if they don't, we know that this time will come eventually where Russ will not be the quarterback anymore. I don't hope it's anytime soon, but, sounds like Seahawks fans might have to be prepared a little earlier than they think, but I hope that's not the case. So we'll see how things shake out. But, ultimately, hopefully the Seahawks invest in the offensive line and protecting Russell Wilson, and we'll see what happens. But, gentlemen, we are coming up on an hour here. I do want to mention one last thing before we get going here. So you guys all heard that J.J. Watt was released by the Houston Texans. So I heard a lot about J.J. Watt wants to go to a contender. Well, Seahawks, they've made the playoffs quite a bit, so I would put them in the contender category. Maybe not necessarily Super Bowl contenders. You guys can probably speak to that, but
if they had a defensive line.
Yeah, and J.J. Watt would particularly add to that. So let me ask you this. Would you like J.J. Watt in Seahawks uniform, and what do you think would be a fair price? Because, he's been fairly banged up. I don't think he gets more than a 1-year deal, maybe 2 years at the most, wherever he goes. What would you be willing to pay for a J.J. Watt? For me, he has, the pedigree of a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. He has kind of, come a little bit down from that. But I think it could be him just looking for a new situation, because at the end of the season, he had that frustrated press conference where he just didn't seem like his team was kind of really trying, even towards the end when they were, out of it. He just didn't feel like they were trying. I think he really wants a team that's competitive. He wants to win a championship, is what he said. So I think that a J.J. Watt deal would probably be in the vicinity of $7 to $8 million. I think would be a reasonable price to bring JJ to Seattle. I didn't think it was one of his top destinations based on what I've heard, but I don't think he would necessarily poo-poo the idea if it was for the right price. Kevin, what do you think?
Would I like him in a Seahawks uniform? Yeah, because I think you would add it on to the, I want to pay him?
Can you picture Dunlap, Puna, Jaron, and JJ all in the same line? That sounds pretty nice, right?
So here's the thing, it just really depends on the money, to be honest, because it would be crazy to have, just because the depth, that's probably the most depth you've had on that D line since Super Bowl. Because like you said, if you bring back Dunlap, you sign them. You also have your young guys in Alton Robinson, Daryl Taylor, hopefully being healthy next year. They've said good things about him. Pete rants about him. We'll see. His college shape looks great. He looks like a beast. But like I said, off a repaired knee, we'll see how that goes. Plus, with adding in Collier and Puna and Green and all that, you have pretty good depth. And I imagine you could probably get Mayoa back for pretty cheap too. So it would be nice because you keep that O-line fresh to where you have more. They're not going to be as tired, so they're going to have more gas to get after the quarterback and get in their face. That'd be nice. But like I said, if he comes at a hefty price, you got to keep in mind we have to pay Jamal Adams. You have corners that need to be paid. Is Shaq coming back? Type of deal. KJ's got to get paid. You want to invest in O-line too.
Well, all of those will be deferred. They're not going to pay they're not going to be hit this year.
Yeah,
JJ's 1 or 2 year.
I hope if we do, like I said, maybe you can get him to a contract, and also with Dunlap too, to where you could backload it. Pay him little this year, hopefully, and then once the cap goes up, once fans start coming in and stuff like that, But I don't want to give up too much money because, like I said, we also want to invest.
How much? What's your number, Kevin?
God, I don't want to do more than 8.
I think 7 to 8 with bonuses to get to 10 is very reasonable.
Even then, I really don't want to do more than 8. And don't get me wrong, he deserves it. He's been top 10 PFF at his position for the last 3, 4, 5 years. It's just
longer than that, but yeah.
Yeah. It's hard. The defense, I think we have enough pieces right now bringing back Dunlap and with Alton Robinson getting because I want Robinson getting more reps. I want Daryl Taylor getting reps too because I wanted to develop the young guys at the same time. But having that depth is also really good for a Super Bowl run. So I'd rather see the money spent on O-line, but I would take it. I'll leave it at that.
Sean?
He is still very, very good. Yeah, he grades very well. He's still good. He's only 32. That's not by any means done.
No.
NFL age. Yeah, Kevin's right to worry about money, but if it was any other position, I would be worried. But you need O-line and D-line, and he is one of those positions. So those are the two positions I want to pay, at least for like shorter term deals, things that are made or capped or really going to bite you cap wise this year, next year. You're going to have to pay on those two. And that's the ones I want to pay. And he fits that bill. So I'll go probably 9 to maybe even 10, because the thing is, like, Houston's going to still paying him. He's still getting guarantees from them. So he probably won't even get that much. He'll probably get closer to what Matthew thinks, because Houston's still giving him money. So usually when you see these guys like that are cut, another team's already paying part of their salary. So they don't want to go win. So they're just like, well, Houston's paying me for, or, $11 million. So I'll come over here for 5, because that'll, it works out to 16 or whatever it was going to be, or something like that. I'm not saying he's going to do that, but like, it's happened before. So, yeah, he's a position of need. He'd be really nice to have in the Seahawks colors.
Do you let Shaq go then? To do it?
Yes.
I kind of agree too. Like, I think Dunbar thing was a fluke. I think because he was hurt. I think you bring back Reed and Dunbar as your starting corners.
Yeah, Reed will be much cheaper than Griffin.
And same with Dunbar too.
You can get them basically for probably even 3/4 the price of what.
I don't know. I might rather have Ugo play, honestly, than Dunbar. But
again, like, you're going to need 3 guys. And those
true. Yeah.
Versus
I would want Ugo and Reed on either side.
What you do is you're going to have
Ugo in the slot. Play Ugo in the slot, and then you let
Diggs go, and you let Blair and Jamal play safety.
Yes, that's it.
And you have Ugo play slot.
Because getting rid of Diggs frees up a lot of money. Mm-hmm. Blair plays his natural position. You have those 3 guys play corner. Yes. You save money from cutting Diggs and letting Shaq walk. With that money, that right there is easily enough, and you'll still have money left over to sign.
And I think you're better, to be honest. Just
maybe.
I
guess overall, Shaq. Yes, losing Shaq is a big deal, but you're getting JJ Watt in the situation.
Because, like I said, I think Dunbar was injured, and I think it really affected him. Yeah, I know a lot of Seahawks fans were kind of crapping on him, but like, he was the number 2 overall corner 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I also like having Ryan Neal as a backup safety as well.
Yeah. Well, you need to sign him too. He is a free agent as well. But that's the problem with a lot of these guys they discovered. They're all free agents. But Matthew made a good point. Like, Reed and Puna are going to have single cover, or like maybe a couple double teams, because you cannot not double JJ Watt. And he played 94% of the snaps last year. Like, he was durable and healthy. Like, he played. So, I mean, barring a couple freak neck things, which he's clearly passed. I mean, he played 94% of snaps last year. Mm-hmm. I think unless another freak things happen, which can happen to literally anybody, you go in with like as if like he's that guy and he's still that guy. Like you said, Dunlap, Reed, and Puna with JJ Watt. That makes all 3 of them instantly better.
And honestly, the only credit I give to Pete Carroll is that Pete Carroll kind of makes this place look great to outside.
Yeah.
So I think JJ be like, oh, I'm going to go have fun in Seattle. Pete's a really good defensive coach. It's not like, He
never played with Russell. But again, Wisconsin thing.
Yeah. Well, see, if I was a betting man, Sean, you mentioned Wisconsin. I think he's probably going to Green Bay. Personally, that's where I think he'll end up. But, I've seen a lot of teams thrown around. Like, please don't go to the Rams.
The issue with a couple of these teams are the Packers are in much worse shape. They're in $20 million over the cap right now. The Steelers are $30 million over the cap right now. Mm-hmm. Like, these teams just need to get under the cap. Like, they have plenty of other issues right now with like players they got to cut. And again, they got to cut, and they still got picks that they got to sign too. So these teams, like, because you always see Pittsburgh, everyone's like, oh, Pittsburgh, play with his brother. They have a ton of issues. They have a ton of issues right now, and they need to solve these issues money-wise. And I don't see how they afford him. Now they might. And
plus contender, Pittsburgh is not a contender really at this point.
They're really not. I mean, they might think they are, but again, the Packers, they're $20 million like over that. Now the one that would be super stupid is the Buccaneers have $20 million and just won the Super Bowl. So they are going to lose 2 guys in free agency, and they just replace JJ Watt with them. Like, I mean, that'd be just ridiculous, but they could realistically do it. The Ravens have $18 million. The 49ers have $14 million. Like, I'm not gonna be I'm gonna knock on wood. Please don't do that and trade for Deshaun Watson. Please don't do either of those things. But
no.
yeah,
Bad.
there's a lot of other teams that are in a lot better situation. That I think if like the Packers and the Steelers are like, oh, we got this much money, like the Buccaneers like, I have like $3 million more. If you just want to come to me and we just won the Super Bowl, so we just beat the Packers. So
True.
it's
all right. Well, JJ, please come to Seattle.
Please come to Seattle.
The price is right. That'd be great. Tweet at us. Let you know what you think of the potential of JJ
Wait, are you
Watt.
saying tweet at us, JJ? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, tweet at us, JJ. Please just let us
Okay.
know that you heard
JJ.
this and you're coming and that you're going to join the show.
Announce it on this podcast. That'd be
We'll bring you on. JJ, if you want to be a guest, come on down.
Yeah.
I mean, come on the podcast.
We'll have to clear room for you. But
We can make it work. We can make it work.
Yeah.
So let us know your thoughts on the Seahawks, Russell Wilson saga, JJ Watt, maybe a possibility. Tweet at us. I am at Beatty_Matt. Sean is at Sean_Beatty. Kev's at Kev's with the first team believes being a 3. Comment on our YouTube page. Subscribe. Follow our Eli Sports Network page. I am going to be doing my first high school broadcast on Tuesday. I'm going to be in Selma at Tenino Girls Soccer, so you can listen to me there. If you have a subscription to the Eli Network, please take a listen to that. I'll also be doing some Friday Night Football probably starting next week, so take a listen to me there. Anything you guys want to plug?
No, you just said YouTube. Your U-tape, so it was funny.
I said U-tape?
Yeah, that's funny.
Okay, YouTube.
There
All right, and with that, we will see you next time on Washington East to West Sports.